So for our author's craft assignment, we chose Columbine by Dave Cullen as our book of choice because it was the most interesting one. And one of the quotes that I found for author's craft was on page, what page was it on? Page 16. Eric and Dylan plan to be dead shortly after the weekend, but Friday night they had a little work to do, one last shift of blackjack. Here, Dave Cullen is able to lessen like how they feel, like the importance of what they feel will be going on the event. Yet on page 35, it shifts to Eric and Dylan expected their attack to puzzle the public, so they left an extraordinary cachet of material to explain themselves. So that showed the magnitude of what they knew they were going to do and how they wanted big press coverage of what was going to happen, and it would alter the country, building up authors' credibility.
Another way that Dave Cullen was able to show like his craft in the book was his use of anaphoras, and it helps him create a rhythm with listening to, so it keeps the readers awake while they're reading. And on page 93, nothing had changed, no buses, no words for hours on end. And that was whenever he was describing the students in the school trying to get out, but they weren't able to because of the SWAT team, because apparently it was bad and they couldn't leave, or else. Well, they couldn't leave because they didn't let them, because they were like bleeding to death. And it was terrible.
Okay, anyways, the first 100 pages of the book I felt were like a TV show because it jumped around perspectives. And for example, on page 63, it says Eric appeared in the library window, which allows us to see that the perspective at the moment is at the school. And then further down the page, it goes to Dylan did not call around noon. Nate dialed his house. Tom Klebo would be home. He worked from there. Hopefully Dylan was with him. Tom picked up. No, Dylan was not there. And by those three words, Tom picked up, it shows that it has now, the perspective had jumped over to Dylan Klebold's house.
Yeah, it was a TV show. Which was, I think, was a great use of what Dave Cullen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a good point.
Did you mention that earlier?
No, I didn't actually, but we mentioned it in our other book talks.
Yes. On our
Thursday
Thursday book talks every week, we did say this.
every day.
Okay, so I thought the author had. Okay, like once you start looking like really closely at how he wrote the book, and I just thought it was really good how he went about getting his point across, and I guess portraying like what happened in the whole situation, like all aspects of it. One of the things that the crafts that I noticed he used was syntax. What are you laughing at? What's the syntax? Okay, here on page 111, I found one of the quotes that says, "Earlier still, even before adolescence, he was exhibiting telltale signs of a particular breed of killer. The symptoms were stark in retrospect, but subtle at the time, invisible to the untrained eye." And I hadn't really noticed it at first. Well, at first it's talking about Eric, and how his symptoms of being like a serial killer were inconspicuous and all that, but those two sentences were parallel in syntax, and they really stood out to me. So that's a part of the craft that I feel Dave Cullen.
Yep. I think that is very key to the whole story, or the whole point of why he's writing this, and like how we can understand it better, or what's actually going on, or what happened, not just during, but before and after.
And by that, I also feel that he builds his credibility even more, because he shows whenever he introduces like people's like resolutions and people's thoughts and opinions about it, it shows that he actually took the time to go by and interview them, or at least took the time to do some kind of research.
Even with the length of the book, like how long it is, like there's no part that's just
just there because it's there. Yeah, everything is key to the story. Like no part is just used just because. Everything's important to it. Can we go? What was it that we had decided? Page 162.
179. 179 here. I'll
Where we
pull
showed
it
all
up real quick.
aspects of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
About, like,
here,
the church and the
This
religion.
to us was just cynical
It was
and
so
just
bizarre.
bizarre.
Dusty.
Like Dusty, could you
Just
please
read
read it?
it.
I can read it. Yes, I will. It is one thoughtful evangelical pastor said he approved of using the massacre for recruitment, as long it was truly done for God. He bristled at spiritual headhunters just racking up another scalp. The Bible was never meant to be a club, he said. If I'm using it as a weapon, that's really sad.
I really liked all the religious aspects. I have rehearsal, but I wish I could continue the discussion.
Okay,
Thank
let's
you,
not
Miss
get into the
Rasmussen. Wish you the best.
We're not gonna put that in the video, so forget that.
Hey, now we.
Okay, so back to the real story. Okay, so back to the quote we were talking about. It just proved to us that it was how he was able to pursue everything he wanted and show all the different perspectives of the shooting. And to us, it was just cynical of what this pastor was saying, and it was just wrong. And if anything, I myself, I'm a devoted Christian, and that was just, if anything, saddening. And I showed my mom, and she just couldn't believe it. And so that was one of the parts of the book that stood out the most to all of us. Like once we read it, we were like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?" It's just, it was just cynical.
Well,
Anything to add, Dusty or Helen, or?
Well, I have something to add, but I am trying to find it in my book at the moment. Let's see. Hang on. Let me see. I think it's farther back in the book. No, it's not that far. Okay. Hang on. Here we go. Hang on. Oh, okay. Here it is. It's on page 361. All right. This was a very, very shocking part to the end of the book, and it states, Linda is angry at conspiracy theorists. Eric and Dylan sympathizers who would build websites honoring the killers, film directors and musicians who glorify violence and American culture for lapping it up. She's angry at Brian Garbu, whatever, always stirring the pot. And it just, I guess it kind of hit me good, because you know how I guess it was a really good aspect that he put at the very back of the book.
Yeah.
Because through these 160 other pages, it lets you actually see, like, I think at one part I remember at one part of the book, it shows you how the students were recovering.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
And
Which was very key to the book. Like, I mean, I just feel like, because Columbine, it was like during the shooting, okay, everyone knows what happened, but like before and after, how they were able to cope with everything that went on.
Yeah.
I think that was key to why it was really, really good, and how he was able to just portray everything in the book and not just the certain aspects. And going back to that, I think one of the things I think was really cool about it was that I could relate this back to like Newtown from a year ago, like pretty much exactly a year ago, on how like, I mean, we all remember what happened, but it was only there. It lasted a whole month, but now people have forgotten about it. And I think it's very essential that we keep up with all the people that were involved and how they can recover from what happened, and because it's a traumatic experience, and we don't want people to go through that. And it's just one of the aspects of that Dave Cullen was able to just master in the book and show all the different perspectives and how like glorifying that was to and rude it was for those who glorified the actions committed by Eric and Dylan.
Well, I don't blame him. Or blame her, Linda. I don't blame Linda.
Oh.
That is horrible.
Yeah, Linda was one of Linda, like when I got to that part of the book, he incorporated her very well, because I was talking about so many other things, then to put just sort of just throw it out there, boom, it hit me. I was like, wow, why would people just glorify something like that? To me, it's just wrong, taking up other people's lives way too early. It was just wrong. Yeah.
Especially at a high school where you should feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's adding on to the
school is one of those places you should feel safe, and I think that
they're adding towards it.
Yeah, it's just adding more fuel to the fire.
Well,
that was our
presentation,
Ms.
Rasmussen.
for Author's Craft. I hope we do good. And we love you, Ms. Rasmussen, and
Love
be
you.
strong.
I love you. Wish you the best, alright? Thank you.
Thank you for watching. This was our book craft project over Columbine by Dave Colin.